Did you know that the tradition of student apprentices studying technique and theory under the guidance of master artists is older than the Renaissance? Do you wish you could experience what that was like to sit in a studio surrounded by art students at every level of expertise and listen to their work as it was being critiqued and guided by masters of their craft? Now imagine you can get that experience every month simply by becoming a Barnstone Patreon supporter. My name is Kat Barnstone Safran, daughter of master artist and educator Myron Barnstone, who for over 35 years instructed thousands of aspiring artists of every age and artistic background. We're carrying on his legacy of classical atelier-style art education through our Master Guide program, and you're invited. Become a Patreon supporter at the $25 or higher level, and you'll have access to the full mentoring sessions between Barnstone students and their chosen master guides. Here's just a short sample of a full-length sessions that you can enjoy every month.
Right. Okay, yeah. So you want to understand the goal, the guidelines of the goal. So like, it should read as the group. That gives you the sense of like the spacing between them, and now you want to know the criteria for the spacing on the sides and the top and the bottom.
Yes, because that's driven by the size of the border.
Are you trying to build this in a phi ratio?
I had to pick a number I thought to make some kind of relationship between the side borders, the larger bottom border, and then the base above that. I just picked 1.6 as a reasonable number to see if it would work, but I could use any number.
Right. Okay, hang on. So
everything I got from Myron's class and the Harold Speed book is things should be related.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, how can I relate the side border to the bottom, which is a different size? I need a base above that.
Okay, can you see
Yes.
this?
Yes.
Okay, so you're trying to figure out a ratio to get these two measurements, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
For step one.
Right. I would say at this stage, your first time through the drawing lessons, you don't need to worry too much about like a specific number or a ratio. What you should be trying to do is just more think about what looks right, and then make a decision. And then after you make that decision, you can then kind of like analyze if like what that ratio is. So I think you generally want to try to make a decision with your gut first and then analyze your decision, because the difficulty with choosing a ratio in the first place is you might choose the wrong ratio based on context, but then you'll kind of like trick yourself into thinking that it's a good decision because like, well, I picked a ratio, it should look right. Without
I understand what you're saying. I agree 100%. What's throwing me off a little is I got this big 18 by 24 paper, and I've got these bottles I'm supposed to bring down less than life size so that I can use those drawings figures later on. So look, for instance, the side border on yours, it's pretty big, and I think I remember Myron saying in one of his lectures, oh, your border's too big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what's my criteria other than I think it's too big?
Right.
And I'm not looking, I understand I'm not looking for a number that's going to drive my borders and then make my picture not fit good.
Mm-hmm.
And if need be, I'll just pick something and run with it.
Right. Okay, so the size of your border is going to be kind of based on the context of the size of the piece. So for this is like, the size of my hand, so a larger border felt a bit more appropriate than something that would be like a little too skinny, that would be a little too dainty. But if you have something larger, then that's when you would start diminishing your border. So I would say you would want to just get your drawing resolved first, And then you can start playing around with like, where do I want my border? Does this feel right? And then kind of like, I think you want to maybe make it like slightly less than this. So then that actually might end up being a 1 to 0.6 ratio. So something like that is what you might end up with. Like really, a phi ratio is probably a good go-to. Like you can't quite go wrong with it, you know?
For
Yeah.
instance, if the bottom border was 2 inches, then the base would be 3 inches above that, which is roughly phi. Right?
Right.
1.5.
3 inches to 2. Let me see. Let me take a glance at the cheat sheets. Were you able to download the cheat sheets for all the lessons?
Yes.
Cool. All right. It looks like this spacing looks like it tends to be about similar to the width of the middle bottle. So then you basically end up with a square here. So I would say aim for that kind of sizing here of your bottom.
Okay. I see what you're doing. It makes sense. So
Yeah, I would say either, well, yeah, just aim for somewhere around using this width. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less. You have like a little bit of wiggle room. And then you need to obviously balance that with like the sense of negative space up here. This negative space down here should be larger than the negative space like up here.
Join us in keeping Myron's legacy alive. Join the Barnstone Patreon today. Follow the link embedded below, and you'll get full-length lessons just like these, plus much, much more every month. You'll learn a new, fresh perspective, insight, and technique with every session. We really can't wait to see you there. As Myron would always say, thank you and be well.